We're live.
Alrighty.
I don't see anyone in the chat yet, but I'm Crystal Philosopher once again. And tonight's stream, I have my friend Charza Kitsune.
Hello.
And Iron Liz.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Always a good time to have with Liz and company.
Yep. Anyway, in case anyone didn't see not my last stream, but the stream before that, I did a stream about Channel Awesome and what it was like being a fan of theirs.
Yeah. I bet that was a friggin' roller coaster.
Oh, yeah.
Being a fan, yes. Being in the middle of it, even worse.
Well, being a fan, though, I mean, you see the ups and downs of this, and everything changes. Yeah.
When you see Linkara going F you to a fan who's like, maybe we should, wait for evidence. Oh, Lewis, what are you doing? You're posting cringe.
Wait, what was he talking about? Was he talking about?
He said, Marsco, you're doing the ward's work. And they're like, oh, shouldn't you wait? I mean, like this guy is like kind of being like, shouldn't we just wait for evidence? Because, I mean, not that either side even cares anymore, but shouldn't we? And he says, fuck you.
Yep. Now, another classy thing that he did, too, was Yellow Flash is a comic book reviewer and kind of a culture reviewer as well. You see, like, people like Hiro Hay.
And bad comics, unlike good.
And so Yellow Flash, like, put pictures on his Twitter of, like, cutting out, or just chopping up a comic with scissors.
Oh, right.
And Linkara immediately clutches his pearls and says, "Oh my God, you're cutting out pictures of women and you're stabbing a scissors through their breasts, and this just shows how misogynist you are, and I'm just so offended." Clearly, that like this is signs that you need mental help, and it's like,
hello,
are you fucking kidding me? So, see. To be honest, I started out with this with a much more open mind. Like with this whole Vic Mignogna thing happened and Mars Girl going the direction she was, like I started out being, you know what, maybe she just doesn't know. Maybe these people are just, not informed. And no, I think that they are informed. They're willingly doing it now. And I think this is just another shameful attempt by Linkara to try to retain some relevancy, but it was a shameful.
Well, that's for you bad comics anymore. The short bad comics burn. So I mean, he just beats dead horses. Which, as more time goes on and the art keeps getting worse in comics, you're like, wait.
Oh, I see a friend of mine in the chat now, Egan. I don't know. He's a friend of mine on Twitter. He's a pretty cool guy. He watches the Privileges streams a lot. So
speaking of dead horses, didn't I think I was actually at that Magfest when Linkara gave the promo for Busy Street or Dead Horse. I forget which one. But that was a big brain moment there. But whatever. Should have had security beat him up. No, because I know the guy who did that, isn't it? Anyway,
I don't know. Should I
let the ads play? Turn off that pesky ad block.
Turn off that pesky ad block.
Well, the funny thing is Mundane Fat was busting him on that. And, like 3 months later, he does it himself. So it's like, okay.
Turn off that pesky ad block.
Turn off that pesky ad block.
I was just collecting boulders.
Yeah.
And let's not get started on the whole Mars Girl being part of Liz and me refound this old relic from Mars Girl's past where she was on a live stream with Benzai, where they made a sex avatar for her in a game.
See, that's only going to come back to haunt her when I think it's like the most convenient for it. So like, yeah. So for those not in the know, Benzai did a show called Game Fap. So Game Fap was all about porno games and all about hentai games. And so there was a special with Mars Girl where they basically in part 1 put her, I guess, an avatar of her, basically a 3D model of her as a sex doll or whatever. And then the second half was, okay, now we're going to have sex with it. And so Mars Girl was like laughing along, having a good time. And, oh no, I think this, my breast size isn't that big. And no, we should use these type of shoes.
Size,
right.
Yeah.
She was totally cool with it, totally happy. Like, okay, yeah, we have a good laugh because it's Benzai. It would be a real shame if that were to just, find the internet were to find that again. Now that you've adopted this this puritanical moral crusader that hates sex and is offended by people, looking at you wrong. It's just like, sure, people change, but that kind of change, I'm not buying it. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Some people are disingenuous when they change.
yeah,
I don't know who mentioned this, but someone had, I think it was probably either Hirohei or maybe Yellow Flash. I think it was one of those two. One of them was saying how like they were suggesting that actually maybe it was you with Micah. Yeah, it was you with Micah on I think Ricada, and one of you guys were mentioning how like maybe it's that whole thing with Justin that kind of
yeah. No, I'm pretty sure there's some motivating factor there because she. Again, I want to give her the benefit of the doubt that she didn't know what happened, and I would think that she didn't, but
she bit my head off when I mentioned you on Twitter. Remember that?
Well, see, the thing is I'm kind of glad that I've deleted my Twitter, but for pragmatic reasons, I might actually have to bring it back. So,
is that and for the record, that was my suggestion.
Well, it was. I'm just totally sick of dealing with this crap day in and day out. And the reason I deleted my Twitter was because she or her fans were dogpiling. Like I had to defend free speech, and so her fans were dogpiling me, and I'm like, I'm tired of doing this. This is not my time. Who cares? This is
Wait, what was she
washed up
about?
Z-grade hack. Well, so okay, so Mars Girl started out, I wouldn't say relative, like normal's the wrong word, but mainstream, let's say. She was just, okay, she likes anime, she's kind of dorky, but then again, so am I. So I'm not one to judge.
Just like a normal week. Right?
But there was a change, yeah. But there was a changeover ever since 2016, I think.
Of course.
And she got more and more extreme with her views. So she started posting things like, healthcare is a human right and, hate speech is not free speech and stuff like that. Where it's like, okay, time out. Free speech is a good thing because it allows you as a reviewer to actually be able to review things. And, if you like compelled speech is tyranny and the rest of that, whatever. Well, I mentioned it once or responded to something that she said, and then everybody dogpiled me. And this was after the whole change the channel stuff. So at that time, I thought I was on good terms with these people, right? Like I come out of the woodwork to back them up. And, but to this day, I still haven't received any contact from Obscurus Lupa. And she's one that, I had asked several people, hey, can you just pass along a message to say that I hope she's doing okay? And I miss chatting with her. But, that was where it was like, oh, well, screw this. I'm just like, I gain no benefit from being, slammed on by these people. They're not nice people and are not willing to be reasonable or considerate in any stretch. It's really like, screw this. Yeah. I don't want to argue with these assholes. So I deleted it.
I will say, if you may indulge me, I'm going to share a screen for just a minute.
Okay, let me just get you on to present to everyone. There we go.
Okay, cool. Well, okay. Which screen am I going to use? I don't know how to use this. One sec. Is this on my screen? Okay, I see. Okay.
Boomer tech.
Yeah, I've never really. Okay. How do I use? Okay, just keep going.
How I mine for fish.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I have two screens. Okay, don't judge me. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me just set this up.
Is this a Unix machine?
Okay,
there we go.
Okay, here we go. So this is the thread that I decided to jump on her about, and it was really fun because this was okay. She actually posted this on my birthday, but I contacted it on the 16th. And so she's like, these jackasses in the comments saying, "Whoa, you snowflakes need a trigger warning for rape scenes." And it wasn't even that bad, and the other anime out there is so much worse. You are the problem. Learn some empathy, for God's sake. Okay, and I go down here. I'm like, and mind you, I mixed up her first name, so she takes huge umbrage. So I actually, Kat, as much as I like to compare notes or nitpick, I hate to compare notes. I admit I find it unlikely that Justin never talked to you about his firing. I don't want to bring up bad blood, but you do know I recommended Liz nuke her Twitter with this recent turn face with your stance. And mind you, I wrote that like pissed as all hell when I saw her of all people saying you have no empathy. I'm like, really, bitch? So she's like, I apologize. I was lashing out there. And then she goes on this tirade, and I need to find the perfect. What impression should I use for this? Okay, I know what I'm doing. Okay, excuse me. One, I shouldn't even entertain you with a response. Two, fuck you. I thought Justin was my friend, and he lied to fucking everyone. He didn't even tell his wife he was fired. As far as I know, he was employed with CA until his death. He told different people different things, including someone. I'll interject here. She also told one of the people who actually knew about the Justin thing kept quiet because Gamergate, which actually caused Mombot to leave Twitter for a bit. Just want to say different things. You don't get to tell me what he did or didn't say to me. As far as I'm concerned, he stabbed me and everybody else in the back with his lies, as I did any higher up who did not. Okay, tell me the ducking movie in tribute to him. I would have never done what I knew who he truly was. As far as Liz is concerned, I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
And to be fair, maybe she didn't.
I have no idea why her account is gone. She was saying something about Alex Jones a few weeks back, and next thing you know, her account is gone.
Oh, is that what it's about, Alex Jones?
Probably.
Yeah, and how
God.
you should be free speech is a good thing.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's what it was, potentially, but I
just
don't know.
laugh at how often these people like freak out about Alex Jones. Like, who the fuck actually thinks what Alex Jones
and they freak out when he's back on something that says Infowars is back online. They're like, I thought we yeeted him. While you're at it, what in the fuck does this have anything to do with my tweet about you responded to? If you're gonna tweet at me on backstab the field of my ex-friend, way to prove my point, Liz. Way to prove my point, Mars. I mean, seriously. You start this off by saying you are the problem. Learn some empathy for God's sake. Okay, again, I snap. First off, I saw an argument as a straw man, considering that more attention to CR's core service instead of cons, discriminatory panels, or a CR original maybe could have spotted this. That was my issue. Okay, you have all these people. You have these people who are like. Have you noticed that Crunchyroll has dropped any of the if you use the Japanese name, you're pirating anime, like that kind of straw man thing? They dropped that now. Yeah, they I think it was Miles. You know who Miles? I'm talking about Miles.
I have no idea what's going on.
Okay. So the whole situation here, the context was Crunchyroll said people were upset about Goblin Slayer, okay? Because
because
that scene, and
because of the rape scene,
exactly, and that there was no way they would have known. Okay, my argument here, and talking to her about this was, okay, so my whole argument, this whole situation was, at least when it came to Crunchyroll, is if you guys actually put effort into your core service, you may have caught. You guys literally made subtitles and said, maybe we should not. Maybe we should put a your discretion is advised sign.
Well, do they have like a kind of like ESRB like rating system for anime? Like, do they have it where this is all general audiences or whatever? This might have adult themes.
I would not be surprised they don't.
If you're trying to suggest that there should be a trigger warning, that is number one, that doesn't help people who have gone through sexual assault or rape, and number two, it's ineffective. It's just it's sort of like, okay, we're gonna look under the sheet. And there's gonna be something really scary there, and then you start getting, oh my god, what's under the sheet? What is it? And then the anticipation is worse than what it actually is.
Well, either way, you can't win. And she just my point was just that they have what is it? Just recently, they added an HTML5 player. Now, finally, they dropped Flash. Finally, it's regardless. I just found it ironic, and I snapped at her for mentioning no empathy and how
certainly it's unprofessional, definitely, and like, this is endemic of rape culture. I ain't buying it. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. Like,
wow.
Can you name like a movie or an anime or whatever that's ever shown like rape in a positive light?
I remember Princess Mononoke with like the head bursts and all, like, that's like a cutesy little kids movie that had, hey, it's a sweet anime movie that I saw in theaters, and people are getting, puking up blood guts and arrows shooting through them and whatever. It's like,
I was a Totoro kid, but at the
You
same
can-
time, I didn't watch Akira until recently.
right, like you can make these arguments, but it sounds almost like, based upon what we've seen with the whole Vic Mignogna stuff, and based upon this kind of moral policing attitude, where it's like, okay, you found it distasteful and you want it removed. I'm sorry, that's not good enough. I mean, like the artist and the anime producers should be able to produce whatever they want to tell whatever story they want.
Yes.
But
I mean, that is the burden of free speech. Is like, you may not like it. There's plenty of shit I don't like, but you can't ban it just because you don't like it.
yeah, it's why I mean, a good example of it'll never be enough, like you were saying with the trigger warning would not have been enough.
Well, it never is with the left, or these types of people on the left, where it's
PlayStation.
you could put up a trigger warning, and then people after the fact, and they would demand an apology. And then if you gave the apology, they would demand a bigger apology. And if you gave that, they would demand somebody lose their job. And if you gave them that, then they would, how bad does this rot go? Clearly, this is, it's never good enough. So you never apologize, and you never, back away from it. You say, fuck you. This is what we're doing. Tough shit if you don't like it.
Yep.
Are you Beachbody ready?
Yeah, are you Beachbody ready?
They didn't back down.
Yep. So it's whatever. I mean, don't get me started. I literally have 25 rhyming roasts for Mars Girl,
Yes.
but I mean, like,
Your rhyming roasts are amazing when it came to Juori, I will say. Those
well,
were
to be fair, a good chunk of those, if not most of those, were from the Social Injustice Warriors channel.
Yeah.
So I will shill for him all the while. But like that style of roasting somebody is perfect. That I kind of sort of inadvertently made it my own as well. So like I just started making lists for him, and now it's to the point where I can't shut it off. So like well, no, I'll be in chat. I'll be in chats, and somebody else will be, or gosh, somebody I don't even really know. Okay, so like the Perfection guy, right? So Perfection, for example, if you watch the Nick Rekieta stream, he was kind of this duplicitous asshole. I don't know anything about him, but if you watch that stream, I'm making him one left, right, and the center because it's just I can't shut it off. So,
believe me, my brother and me used to make a lot of, and I still kind of do. Like I make memes, and my brother and me over the weekend were like, we were watching, I think, Godzilla vs. Destroya, one beer each, and there was a shitpost I made over the weekend that I thought was the funniest thing ever, because you see them and they're like rewinding a tape, and they're like looking at it really creepily because there's supposedly this fish dissolving, and I'm like, oh, so I guess Japan discovered TiVo. They're probably watching the most profound thing ever, which was the wardrobe malfunction. So I literally took it into Vegas, but yeah, it's like you get this. Like, once you start doing that stuff, you start noticing the connections.
Right.
You start riffing like MST3K, and you never go back. It's
Yeah. Well, classic MST3K.
oh yeah, the plastic. Oh god, I need to ask Liz about her opinion on that, because
What's up?
your opinion on the return, because I have not gotten past the second episode.
I haven't watched any new episodes of MST3K.
That's what's his face, right? Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, I can't.
Oh,
That's the
Oh
reason.
God.
That's
I
the
can't
reason I
stand that
cannot
guy.
stand his voice. I hear his voice. I'm like, I'm done. I can't.
So what's wrong with riff tracks? I don't understand.
Oh, I have no problem with riff tracks. I have, well, except for Bill's ironic statements on Twitter, but otherwise, no, I have no problem with riff tracks. I haven't really got into them for a while, but no.
Well, yeah.
Bill was all like, "We have to stop civility," and I'm like, "Okay, Bill, how about you practice what you preach? Because last I checked, you're still working with Mike, who's probably the most conservative alumni from that show.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really, he's not actually on Twitter. I actually respect him for that.
Yeah, I think Mike actually had a radio show at some point, but this is Linkar's wheelhouse. It's not mine. So
That's my brother. He makes
Oh, yeah.
robots. I love the show.
Should I mention to Liz how I got blocked by Linkar on Twitter?
oh god, yes, I want to hear the story.
So Jim, Mr. Medicare, just released his video about Linkar, and of course the
Yes, yes.
I just
He was on a
tweeted that. I just tweeted that at him, and then I tweeted that at him, and then I went off with my day. The next day, I go to Twitter. I'm like, oh yeah, I did tweet at Linkara, and he blocked me.
Oh man, I actually sent him that meme of "brace yourself." It's coming. I added him.
Yeah.
And for a long time, he actually got pissed, and he talked to me. I'm like, I actually didn't just outright block him. He actually debated me, and I'm like, he's like, you came in here, you came on my thread and then posted this, and I'm like, yeah, it's accurate, and you actually
Well,
didn't.
it's also inevitable. So
That's
there's
like-
that.
Like, did he really say you came into my thread and posted?
Yeah,
this?
he like mentioned you
That's
posted
like fucking. That's like boogie type fucking. Like, they don't deserve my tweets. And stuff.
Oh, he had me muted. He had me muted, and and the funny thing is, I could tell, and then he blocked me. Like, it was funny. Like, I tagged
You caught him
in this-
reading like your tweets on stream or something, right? Or
What?
something like that. Or I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. But yeah, no, he has a. Oh no, I'm thinking of Social Injustice Warrior, where he also got blocked or muted or something by Linkara, and he knew that he could read his tweets because he would read them on. Linkara has a habit of mouthing words when he's reading, and
Oh
so
my god.
Okay.
yep. So one time a Social Injustice Warrior was on a stream with him or something like that, or in the chat audience, and he knew that he was reading that comment, but he didn't read it out loud. So
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
yeah. No, it's interesting to see what happened with Linkara too, because he used to be more about like I don't care, it's out there, whatever, and now he's gotten more censorious and more kind of sore about things. So.
Been butter most of his career. I mean, for goodness sake,
Well,
you red light bringer. That applies to the face of what he mentioned in the Superman Action Comics review. You were there for that, mind you. That was like the 97th, 98th review.
yeah,
You read the whole thing of Gail Simone, and you could literally take pan across to his actual comic where he's talking about people being raped all the time. Just saying. I mean, I'm not bashing you. I'm just saying.
there's a lot of stuff I wasn't privy to, and it was the Mr. Medicare episode when it came out was almost as shocking to me, because again I knew about some of the stuff that he was into, but there's a lot of it that was completely buried that he never brought up, that if you check at the timestamps he was still looking at while we were dating. So maybe he was looking at it while I was in bed or something, but he never really brought any of it up.
So he never
So
cried
kinda-
out.
it's unsettling.
Or
You know?
never called you Eminem or anything. I hate to ask. Time.
No, of course not.
You don't want to, put you on the spot.
Well, I say this a lot and I still mean it, but like I roast the guy, but I can roast myself. But if he was ever in trouble and needed help, I don't hate the guy. I don't want to see him suffer or make him, or whatever. But
I don't hate
it's
it
like
either. I just like making fun of him.
right where it's like, but
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
it's just like don't get like I'm just asking to have a little bit of self-reflection and self-awareness, because again I do the same thing. I practice what I'm preaching here. So
That's exactly why, how I act on Twitter is that I want people to get better. I know he has good talent. I mean, you
Sure.
had the Masigno arc in his stories, but I actually found that fascinating. I thought it was a really neat, unique twist. And then I saw the sequel of sorts to that, and it was like, I'm not going to go into it because I could ramble for hours of how many things it's a perfect case study of how he has fallen so far. Mainly if you compare that to earlier story arcs. Point is, you can tell his writing has slipped off the edge and he's kind of gone nuts, and he doesn't even care. I literally texted my friend. I'm like, so Zach, how far along has the how far has the Constant Champion gone? Is it finally finished yet? This is February, March of this year, and that whole arc started October of 2017. He's like, yeah, they stopped caring about it during the October months. I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds about right. Imagine my shock. No, it's. I mean, I wouldn't mind if he actually showed any kind of self-awareness. Like Liz said, I know he's good, But at the same time, I can kind of see why he's kind of like that, because he's relying on Patreon for everything, even his reviews.
Well, I mean, I have to question the validity of a career if you literally have to go on, a live stream to shill for 3 days for $7,000 5 days before your taxes are due.
Wait, that's what he did?
Yes. So here's some Linkara lore. So I think it was like on April 10th, maybe around that area, like maybe a week before. I'm not sure, but he basically got on. He live streamed for 3 days playing Pokemon to raise $7,000 that he owed in taxes. So he got it. Don't get me wrong, he was successful, but you don't enter that state of affairs unless you're in a bad place financially. Like, the reason that his taxes were so high was because in Minnesota and in the United States, if you're self-employed, you actually have to pay a lot of taxes. But the way you deal with that is that you pay taxes every quarter or every month. You don't wait until the end of the year until it gets up to $7,000. So that says to me, he wasn't taking out taxes for every time he was getting paid because he probably needed the money. But he also, like, if you have to shill for it, that means he didn't have other assets. He didn't have savings or a car or, a retirement fund or something that he could get that from. And number three, it's like he did it before, like, the taxes were just almost due. So again, he was like waiting to the last second, where it's almost like he didn't file his taxes on time. Like, maybe he didn't realize it, or he put it off to the last second, or heaven forbid, he spoke with an accountant and realized he owed more than what he did, or maybe hell, he even owes back taxes.
Liz, you do realize when Boffo the Clown was put on there, it was quite well implied, both in continuity and on like live shows, that he had trouble with taxes even back then. Like, he heavily implied that.
Yeah.
And also, again, Boffo is his accountant. He has a clown for an accountant. I don't say anything more than that. Sorry, just
right. So like, it's not in a good place to be. And I've noticed that, like, and I'm, for the sake of his privacy and whatever, I'm not going to give specific numbers here, but I know that what he's earning on Patreon is not what he was making when we were dating. And it was, it's pretty significantly less, as a matter of fact. So I know he's right. Well, if he has a house, then that means he has a mortgage, unless he paid for it in full in cash, but you still have taxes you have to pay on it. And I also know that his wife at least had student loans. I'm almost positive of that. At least she mentioned it when I met her, when they were dating.
Black lady, right?
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is not a good situation to be in. But the good news is that, Minnesota, at least the economy is booming. So seriously, this might be the time to, make this a side project or a side hobby thing, because you gotta transition out of this gig. It's not going to last for much longer.
I have a feeling that would be eating crow for him. I doubt it's going to happen, but it will. It will.
Well, see, that's the problem, where it's like, people attach their egos to this, and it gets really easy to say, well, for the past 10 years, I've been, living at home, sleeping whenever I want to, going grocery shopping at 3 a.m. and eating waffles and Arby's. And that's fine and dandy, but I can't go back to, doing the 9-to-5 stuff and then working for somebody else and the rest of that. It is a big ego hit. So,
well, that's why I have a day job. I mean, I do all this shit on the side, and it's fun. I would love to do it for a job, but I don't think it's going to happen. I just want something to come in.
Well, even if you take it as a job, I mean, keep in mind, and I've said this on so many damn streams, but I'll say it again. You got maybe 5 golden years, and after that, you are fighting to maintain what you got and fighting to maintain relevancy.
Liz, you are full of wonderful advice. I've said that many times, and I'll say it again.
Nobody ever listens to me, and nobody ever listened to me back in Channel Awesome era. And I'm saying this flippantly, I'm not saying you guys never listen to me. You good? No, I'm just saying, like, I was making these observations years ago, and everybody blew me off. So,
well, Liz, I don't know how many times I've told my dad that analogy you gave about the gold brick at 20 miles away. That's something I've been using all the time. Like, that's an analogy I use. It's so the analogy goes. Financial success
is literally just doing it's like doing the homework for it, right? So imagine if there's like a golden brick and nobody else is going to take it, and you're free to pick it up, but it's 20 miles away and you got to walk to go get it. Most people usually will give up, or at least not, oh shit, it might be raining, and oh shit, my shoes might wear out, or the road is muddy. Most people just don't go out and get it. But there's the 10,000 hour rule, right? Where if you practice an instrument for 10,000 hours, you become an expert at it that can, play Carnegie Hall. It's that same sort of thing where if you put the time and effort in, you can become a master at anything. It's most people just don't have the discipline or desire to do it.
And that's honestly, to be honest, that's kind of how I've approached, and I've seen the progress in my animation and my mastery of like the program Blender. Even like I look at what I'm doing now and I compare that to where I was like beginning of school year last year, when I finally got this PC I have here, and I'm like, I've come so far. Like, just looking back, and I just did. I didn't question it. I just did.
Well, yeah, it's like you just put your shoulder to the wheel. But the funny thing is, it's like approximately 5 years ago was when I finally got a real job, like, and it was washing dishes of all things. But I always thought that my time at That Guy with the Glasses was like lost time, right? It was like I graduated from university and it was like 4 or 5 years that was just completely just washed out. And they were in my young 20s, right? And for years I kept going, oh shit, my time was wasted. Well, the irony is that my time wasn't wasted. It was just, it wasn't ready yet to be utilized, if that makes sense. Because now, now I'm able to speak to people based on the reputation and that Guy with the Glasses had, and based on the connections that I had in the past. Right, so I wasn't able to bust out as a great tabletop RPG reviewer, but my network is still proving to be useful that many years later, and it's the connections by outsiders that I think is actually going to give me a lot of success in the future. So we'll see.
That's how I look at my failed college time. I mean, I used to hate it. I used to despise it. I'll go briefly, but as I told Liz and I've mentioned before, I was suicidal back then. This is back 2010, 2011, or 2010, about 10 years ago. I was at Purdue University in Indiana, and I was having a situation where this one class I had in my freshman year, which was a computer art class, it basically changed my life. And I kind of wanted to do that, and I kept on getting disillusioned with computer science. I had my friends hate me, and they all was basically gunning up me because they're all psychotic. And That Guy with the Glasses kind of kept me through it. I'm like, I may feel like I hate myself, and I may feel like a mess of emotions, but at least I got these guys to watch. And years later, when all this kind of stuff kind of collapsed, and I kind of came out of the bubble and said, you know what, I gotta let go. And even then, I met Liz, weirdly enough. I remember like being at work, and then like extra mana on YouTube, he was saying, I want to do more stuff, Channel Awesome. And I think, Liz, you came in, you're like in the comments, and you're like, yeah, let's set up an interview and such. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Liz, do it. I'm wanting to know what's going on with you. Last time I saw you was like a 300th episode.
Yeah.
We made a brief cameo.
Yeah,
like,
no, that was...
God, that episode is terrible.
I think that was the last time I ever interacted with Linkara. I think was we filmed that, and then DVD? I just buggered off.
What about the DVD? Was that before or after?
I don't know, dude. So like back the vivid memories that I actually can like give you time and dates for were like in 2014 or 2015 when he filmed his movie. And that was me coming after work to see people that I used to know and work with. And before that, when I had my surgery, since I was kind of just recovering and you really can't do anything, we would occasionally, hang out or see a movie or something. But that was like 2013. So like 2015 might have been, maybe it was around that area, but we just stopped interacting, and I haven't spoken to him since. So
yeah, it's for the best,
Well, yeah, it's time to move on. And I'm sure he probably has a few choice words to say to me at this point, but then again, so does the majority of, people that used to hang out with me. So,
Well, I mean, that's this kind of thing of like college friends. There's one friend who I knew from college, and he was somebody from high school, and he basically just kind of just walked away. Like, I was being attacked by all these people, like harassed on Facebook and whatnot, and like he just didn't care. He had got more my roommate than me, and it's as soon as I let go of Channel Awesome, it was funny. Then I let go. I could actually let go of all those emotions.
Yeah,
and
then you don't have to drag it around anymore. So it's
exactly.
like, okay, it's done and over with. So now what?
The weights are off, and I'll be honest, Liz, some of the things you've said to me in that midterm period helps inspire me to go forward. And here I am learning how to animate.
Shucks, thanks. I'm just an asshole on the internet. I'm nothing more than an odd sounding tranny. So take what I say with a grain of salt. So
I will say, to be honest, you passed pretty well. Like even back then, like when the first episode came out with you being on there, I was kind of like, she has a low voice, but I didn't think much of it beyond that. It's kind of funny.
Well, yeah, no, I look terrible. Like, so I've kind of, and I'm sorry, dude, Crystal. Like, I don't mean to monopolize all the time here.
Oh, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm actually enjoying this.
Well, so like I was trolling around on Kiwi Farms, and I do have a profile on Kiwi Farms, but but nobody knows what it is, and I want to keep it that way. You go into the Linkara thread, for example, and they bust on me with old pictures of me the way I used to look, and it's like, holy shit, yeah, no, I was chunky, and you can see it in my face, right? And that's the thing with me, and I don't exaggerate this. There was a time in like 2015 or 16 where I was taking a selfie and I had my cell phone out and I'm like angling it around and I'm like, holy shit, I have a fat head. Yeah, my face is fat. How did that happen? So that was where I was like, okay, I got to do something about this. And yeah, I ended up losing almost 40, 50 pounds, closer to 50 actually. And yeah, you look at, or you can see with those old photos, yeah, I was out of shape and yeah, I just looked terrible. So,
I mean, it's a good motivator when you see how far you've grown. I mean, I've been losing weight mainly because I got the beatus.
Yeah. Well, that's a good motivator, but
it is actually. And I said, I need to change. And when you see your pants like falling down, you're running out of belt to tighten, you're like, oh wow, I have lost a lot of weight. Okay then.
Well, it was funny with so a year ago or so with the whole change the channel stuff, the social injustice warrior wanted to include testimony that I had, but he didn't. He only used like old footage, from where it was because he wasn't aware of any new stuff. And so I remember like listening to or watching old footage of me, and it's like, Jesus Christ, yeah, it was bad.
Well, I'm sure your armor fits you better now. Unlike Lewis, who pretty much filled up his jacket.
Yeah, no, I've still got my armor. It's in storage right now, but yeah, no,
it's still activated via the morpher.
See, the funny thing is like if Lord Vice actually wanted to defeat Linkara, he should just like get a freaking like Glock 19 and some hollow point bullets and or a shotgun with like exploding shells or something.
I would say use that Kylo Ren, or sorry, the Force Awakens lightsaber gun, but I have that. It was funny. I literally bought that lightsaber just so I could saw off the blade. I'm like, I have Lord Vice's weapon.
Yeah.
My brother still goes, dude, and he turns it on like 90s kid or something.
Well, the funny thing is like a couple weeks ago, I think it was that Umbrella guy. Tug, by the way, is great. I love Tug.
I love
that Umbrella guy. Yeah. So
Umbrella guy, please use that. Please.
I think he interviewed a couple of former friends of Lewis's, and I don't know who they were.
What?
Yeah, so to plug his channel, but he talked about, they talked about what it was like dealing with him or interacting with him, handling him, right? So that again is in the Linkara Kiwi Farms. You can find a link for that, and one of the comments in it is, "Oh my God, Liz is in the chat." So yeah, no, that was interesting to watch, and the running joke is like, oh, can you verify that he actually shoved a comic up his tailpipe? And he got specifically that he got drunk and shoved a comic up his tailpipe. And so I said, well, no, there's no way that happened because he doesn't drink. And so they're like, yeah, you see, there's no way it didn't happen because he didn't drink, right? So that was the part. But I don't know, maybe he did.
To be honest, I'm trying to think which comic it would be. Probably a Wonder Woman comic, ironically enough. I would say Earth 1, maybe, because even though it goes against everything he said in his Amazon's attack review, he's a masochist.
Well, yeah, he's got interesting views, but the interesting thing too is that like one of his, I think he was like prior to his stuff that he was doing, he was way into Gail Simone. So
you don't say.
Yeah, I think she blocked him actually on Twitter because he was like, I think, okay, don't worry. But he would apparently, according to the Kiwi Farms lore here, he was kind of obsessive with her and would follow her around and get into discussions and automatically parrot everything that she said. So much so that she kind of got weirded out and kind of like said, okay, no more of this.
He referenced it so much in the early works, so this is not a surprise to me in the slightest.
And isn't any surprise too that she's also, a lefty SJW type. So
she invented the women in refrigerators trope, so
yeah. So it's.
Liz, real quick, I just want to see if you recognize some of these people in this collage I made.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
Link it in the or here we go.
Here's this little collage I made.
That is a trophy case right there. That is
no. Oh God, Todd in the shadows. So yeah, you've got Hope Chapman, who at this point I think she's either narcissistic or sociopathic. Jacob Chapman, like seriously, I'm not exaggerating. Like, no, they're nuts. I seriously think that Jacob Chapman has narcissistic sociopathy.
Jake was trying to ban people because she was upset. What was it? She was upset that she was going to ban a bunch of Nazis that turned out to be just people from who like Darling in the Franxx. And the reason why it's called Nazis because in the show they say, yeah, you can't have a woman in a mech or two guys. It's like, oh God, biology, my worst enemy.
Well, I remember you were like Charza. You were calling isn't he a man now?
Yeah, Jake.
Yeah, so it was Hope Chapman. Now it's Jacob Chapman.
Yeah, he was like I think you called him out, and I saw who it was, so I just put LOL and then Jesso Otaku, and that was enough to get banned.
Oh yeah. That I simply asked Jake, if you read Brave New World, he never answered. Never blocked me eventually, but asked. I just asked him.
One of my favorites is still when Danny Boy under there blocked me. I just literally tweeted at him because I'll admit with Change the Channel, I was annoyed that Lindsay was white knighting for him.
Yeah.
And stuff and trying to act like he didn't do the things he was accused of doing.
He did do nothing.
So I just tweeted at him a picture of that one picture of Chris Hansen you see on Encyclopedia Dramatica.
What you have a seat there?
Real quick, I did send you my crown jewel if you want, or crown jewel of my trophy case if you want to see it.
All right, let me just get to it real quick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop screen sharing a bit.
You're fine.
Where is it?
I sent it to you in DMs and Twitter.
Oh, okay. Let me just get to Twitter.
You'll see why. It's quite poignant.
Oh.
I don't know if I've ever. I'm gonna show this to Liz. Yeah, it's the greatest thing ever, isn't it? So work hard.
Oh my.
Yeah. He put that there and then blocked me because there's a perfect response to it.
Let me just.
Oh dear.
That is my crowning achievement. The only thing that comes close is when Bo threatened to box me. Got challenged.
Uwe Boll.
Yes, and sadly I lost most of his because he actually got blocked. He got banned entirely off Twitter. But I did save most of the conversation. But I'll grab those two because honestly, there's just one interaction I got that was honestly a roast. Let me just give those two here. This is the first one. Like I was talking to him about like the tax returns, and he responds, and I kind of get this ownage that I kind of want to one day put like, oh, I'm about to ruin this guy's whole career kind of thing. I sent them to you again, Crystal.
All right, let me just open them up.
Well, it's there was a person I noticed, like Kyle Owen Citizen, and that's also he's almost like, again, if he wasn't so obnoxious, I would be really sympathetic. Like he struggled with mental problems and depression and whatnot, and like he just, I don't know what it was, but he kept getting like willingly bullied by, or just like, I think it was Lindsay who told him, yeah, no, you should totally come out to New York. Like he did.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like he ended up with these like, so I later found out that the production manager. Oh, nice.
Okay, so that's the first one.
All right, now let me just get to the other one.
Yeah.
So like I later found out that like the production manager for Linkar's movie was one of Kyle Owen Citizen's ex-girlfriends, and like, you know that meme of like Buzz Lightyear and Woody, where it's like blank everywhere. It was literally like when I saw this girl, I immediately thought in my head, autism everywhere. And she was obnoxious, she was loud and annoying. And it's like, dude, Kyle, you can do better than that. You can do better than like a 2.5 out of 10. But I think it's just because he's struggling with other things that he doesn't see that like his value or self-worth. So he kind of goes that, yeah. No,
I mean, I didn't know much about like his like personal life. I just kind of always thought he was just like a smug twat, to be honest. So
yeah. I mean, he definitely has that going on with it, but
like I think on my Twitter, I described him as if he's basically like Brad Jones is a cinema snob character, except he's genuine.
Oh God.
Yeah, no, that's kind of honestly
he blocked
the character.
me. He blocked me, I think, because like he was posting these like really cringy like Antifa type poems. The first one he didn't block me for. I just wrote F-. And then the next one, I think I said jokingly, great poem. Here's your prize, and it's just a picture of a Sway project, and he blocked me for it.
Oh.
That's pretty good.
Oh man.
I still maintain the best trolls I've ever seen in my life was with Spoonie. Somebody bought the ad space where it was like, I haven't seen missing since like the last video he made since 2016. Like that was top tier trolling. That
It
I was
said
just
like,
I went on.
it said he was missing.
And I'm like, what?
yeah, no, that
it
was
said he was the day that Trump got elected.
yeah. No, it was so funny. Like that was so perfect.
I remember.
But I was like, there's
going on
nothing that can be said that can't top this.
I remember going on the website and I'm saying to myself, wait, what is this? And I'm like, I'm literally looking at this thing and I'm looking over and I'm seeing the exact date on both. And I'm like, my God, that's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, no, it was brilliant. They bought ad space on his website to troll him. Like, I can't believe
he shut down all ad space.
Yeah.
You just shut it all down now. Because that was the only way you could.
Well, he obviously wasn't looking at it or keeping track of it or whatever. And Medicare brought up the fact that, yeah, Spoonie has his Amazon wish list still going, but he doesn't update his website. So it's like, God, that was a brilliant troll.
Did I tell you yet? I just only recently got Spoonie to block me. And I know I've told Crystal about this.
Yeah, that was fucking great.
Did I tell you about this list?
No.
Okay, so this was like, I think back in beginning of April, because I remember like it was around spring break where I work. I work as I've told, I'm a janitor. I clean all the puke in your school. And we were kind of, getting stuff done with the upstairs. And I remember Crystal had just done the stream where he was like talking. You were joking about I don't know how they got this footage. I don't know. Have you found out yet?
I still don't know how they got the footage.
Someone posted online footage of a dash cam of a cop.
Oh yes, with the accident.
Yes, and people were like, "Don't like in the comments, don't tell me how to drive."
Well, see, the funny thing is with Noah's, like with his rhyming roasts, they came really naturally, and they came to like they're some of my best. So to pause this real fast, I got like the ones I came up with, Lewis, are actually pretty mean. So I'll try to avoid those, but I think the ones for Noah are just perfect. I'm so proud of these. So if you'll indulge me, I can give you 10 of them.
Do it.
We'll indulge you.
Do it.
So we're talking about Noah Swiggity Swooty. I'm not making my movie. No, that's the worst one. So let's Noah, I'm never wrong, but my money's all gone. Noah, snarky and bitter. I'm addicted to Twitter, Antweiler. Noah, I won't entertain because I'm effing insane, Antweiler. Years ago, won a Mashable. Now he hates Trump because it's fashionable. Noah, no more laughter. My whole life's a disaster, Antweiler. Noah, can't stop being mean. Honestly, the light was green, Antweiler.
That's so far.
Noah, my head's not in a really good place. My brother shot a guy in the face, Antweiler.
Yes.
Noah, burnout internet star, can't afford to fix my car, Antweiler. And last but not least, Noah refuses to earn a living wage, spends all day in a Twitter rage, Antweiler.
Oh my God.
So
I gotta pull up something. I actually have a long playlist I curated of my own content saying my long running that guy with glasses shit posting. And I put up there, I know I've seen it, the Ballad of Lewis, but that's not what I'm gonna show. I'm gonna send here. It is an older one. What is it? Oh yeah,
I don't know if I can
Well, okay, well.
play it though because I haven't been able to get like sound and videos to play on my streams yet.
Fine. But it's called what was it? Spoonie Needs More Natural Light, and it's like it starts off with it's like you see April. It's 4:00 in the morning. Why on earth are you? And he cuts a Spoonie with the colander on his head because I've lost control of my life. That's very sad. But it's just I don't know. What happened? I also sent you the picture of what he told me, but I posted online. I'm like, Razor Fist, I don't get, it's weird. I tagged Razor Fist in this because he's from Arizona as well. I'm like, if there is no crisis on the southern border, then why did Spoonie move all the way from Phoenix all the way up to apparently Aurora into Illinois?
yeah.
And like Razor's like, that's a real invasion of privacy. And I'm like, yeah, I don't even know how they got the video, but at the same time, it's just kind of funny. It's almost.
Hold on, I want to try my Spoonie impression. Hold on. People were hurt in that accident, myself included. You're talking about live streams. Your lack of compassion is sickening.
And the one before that was, I'm sure you think this is really funny, don't you? And I said, yeah, and I admit, the fact they have this and post this is kind of creepy. I will freely admit, but at the same time, and this is what he's referring to. I find it kind of, with all the fans who loved you and cared about you and now whatever, don't tell me how to drive. Yes, it is some sweet karma I can enjoy and comeuppance. Yes. And that's what he said. That was the last thing he tweeted and he blocked me. And I'm like.
Ultimately, I think fundamentally it's a lack of respect that people go out of their way to mess with him. Like if Spoonie had and I'm just offering this as an idea. If Spoonie came forward with the whole movie thing and said, look, I'm sorry, but life circumstances have determined that I won't be able to make the movie. I'm sorry, I have to dial back my content or whatever. I think people would be more forgiving of it.
Exactly.
But since he's acted the way he has with the Livewire stuff and the fact that he hasn't addressed his Patreon stuff and the fact that I think at this point he earns the money that he does is because people haven't, realize that it's still active. I think he himself could shut it down, but he chooses not to. And so that makes people want to mess with him. That makes people upset with him. And so, yeah, it is kind of creepy that they got this footage, but it's because they don't respect it. It's because they're upset with him. It doesn't make it right. I'm not defending it, but I'm saying that, people will generally treat you better if they try if they at least if you own up to your mistakes.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's as a matter of fact, that's my whole problem with him. I actually defended him when he was kicked off the site. I was like, you have like I was actually giving Lord Cat shit. I'm like, dude, why are you telling this guy to kill himself? He's dealing with that depression. And now looking back, I'm like, geez, the Lord Cat was right jar must be filled to the brim by now.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the sort of thing with Spoonie where he's the issue is ultimately his ego.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
It's
and
stubborn.
people hate that. They hate arrogance. So
Mhm.
I mean,
look,
I
Yeah.
always find it like kind of interesting that wasn't like didn't JonTron find like Spoonie to be like one of his influences?
yes, he did.
Yeah, it's interesting because now JonTron's like more famous than him.
I think there's that Tom Cruise laughing compilation image. There's one of JonTron now because of what's happened with Pro Jared and everything. I mean, it's
yeah,
it's like you have Peanut Butter Gamer who, you know,
Ah, that guy's
kicked him out and everything, and now like this is what you're going to defend and this is what you're going to say. That's like, yeah, I just found it amongst my images, but it's like point is, it's like there's another image I saw of like him on the Angry Video Game Nerd. Like he like popped in with James on a gaming thing, and yeah, basically it's like when you decide to avoid politics and taking sides, just make quality content, and it's like just those two standing there.
well, it's John Jafari making a few off-color remarks is like it really shows you what their emphasis and their morals are, where that becomes more offensive and more horrific to them than somebody who cheats on their wife and solicits underage women for sex. So it's like, yeah.
That's
why
why
don't you-
that's why the Drake meme has become my friend. I made that Mars Girl one, and that was amazing. That got a lot of traction. And like when Yellow Flash actually brought it up to Mars Girl, she was like, "Do you have any proof of those people?" I'm like, "Oh, so now you're talking about proof? Okay,
Right. And see, that's where I turned on there's no way she can't be doing this, honorably, or, she has to know, right? A reasonable person would say, maybe I should step back from this if I'm uncertain, or maybe I should say, you know what, maybe I jumped the gun. I wasn't, whatever. But the fact that she's still maintaining it and attacking and tripling down on it, that is an act that she's willfully doing.
you know what I should probably do? I should probably make one of Linkara because it's like stepping back and reevaluating it, and he points to "fuck you." It works, right?
Yeah. No, it's like, believe me, the out of the rhyming roasts that I have, I'm harshest to myself. So I mean, I'm not. Everything that I'm saying, I hold true to myself, and I even hold myself to a higher standard. But yeah, this.
I mean, for goodness sake, when I saw what's her name, Soph's video about women and how people in high school manipulate guys, I was laughing mainly because I'm like, yeah, that's what I've held my entire life, and I can totally relate. This is exactly what I've dealt with. Exactly. I'm gonna laugh along too because I know it's what happens. Because I know I'm a walking pile of shit that has issues.
Well, you work to change it.
Yeah, exactly. There's a difference there. I mean, once I try to there to be. Whew.
Well, is there anything else you want to touch base on or go into, or questions for me, or?
Actually, I have like one more thing. You said you have those rhymes, right?
Yeah.
Do you have one on Lindsay?
Oh gosh, let's see here. I don't think I do. Oh God, shameful display. No, I don't for Lindsay Ellis. I actually probably should.
Yeah.
I've got like 30 for Kaylin though. So
Oh my! I cannot.
or
Wait.
25.
Do any of them involve orangutans?
Well, if you like, I could go through them.
Yeah,
Well, some
yes.
of they're not my best, so we'll start at the top here. Kaylin, please subscribe to me as I chew through a tree, Saucedo. And to answer your question here, Charza, lurks on Kiwi Farms wielding her orangutan arms, Saucedo. Married a manlet, can't put down the sandwich, Saucedo.
They call it their wedding.
Kalen, I'm a Twitter conniver because I got no subscribers. Saucedo, got a bigger beef than my 2 front teeth. Kalen, I'll lie and bitch when I think you're rich. Kalen smells of night soil, can't afford motor oil. That's in reference to her crowdfunding for an oil change. Rape's not a game unless I can get some more fame, Saucedo.
Oh yeah.
Kalen, Maria Di Cholo, hope my lawyer's pro bono.
Well,
My
at least
show's
you had
got well, my show's got no moxie, so I got to outsource my doxing, Salcedo. Kalen can't make a buck, got arms like a tow truck. Never once was funny, always out of money. My comedy is flat because I starved all my cats, Saucedo.
She
Kalen
share-outed them.
tries to dox with friendly thugs, can't pay lawyers with internet hugs. Hides behind crocodile tears, will be working at Arby's within a year. Kalen, not very quick. My arms will make you sick, Saucedo. Kalen, lacking in success, could choke out a T-Rex. Endless shilling spin, but I'm the real victim. Accuse out of hate and spite. I'll even call your mother alt-right, Saucedo.
Yeah.
I claim Vic Mignogna diddled kids, but maybe I know what Juario did. And on a grave, I think I'm jigging, but I'm in a hole and won't stop digging. My arms are too wide, and my personal sin is pride. And last but not least, Kaylin, hate a man she's barely met in 50 years, still in debt. Salcedo. So
the last one's probably going to be accurate.
So again, I roast out of love. I have plenty of horrible ones for myself. So
You have talent, though. I mean,
like I said, it just keeps coming to you after a while. It just doesn't. You can't shut it off. So
yeah. As for doing because you care, that's why. I mean, I don't like. I remember when I took Smug in of sorts as kind of an apprentice. She was bitching about over on, I think, Frozen Binary Devs Discord because Mundane Matt on his Discord was fully aware he was being doxxed and he didn't give a rat's ass. And she's like, why are you doing it? Why are you letting it? Like she was being very scattershot, like a shot with a sawed-off shotgun. And I'm like, you have the talent, you could do better than this. Mm-hmm. I start describing what I do, and what I do is I do it because I care. I had someone who I cared about deeply who was going into the alt-right, and I said, Kiz, what is Jordan? You introduced me to Jordan Peterson last fall. What does he say about the alt-right? And basically, I was blocked at that point.
Yeah,
I got through to her because
Sorry. You're giving this heartfelt description here, and I'm just musing at the fact that I've been called alt-right. So it's like I just find it funny to me. And I know I probably shouldn't, but it's funny to me.
I had some fucking retard come at me trying to claim Ben Shapiro's alt-right.
Yeah.
Oh, you think that's bad? You think that's bad, Crystal? I had a situation back when Froz was still on Twitter. This is probably last summer. I had a guy who basically said, and this is what pissed me off the most about JonTron whole situation, and why I hate Destiny, for example.
Oh God, fuck that guy.
Well, here's the thing: his father. Do you know who his father was?
No.
He was a diplomat from Persia during the Reagan administration.
Oh wow!
So his father, the office he's in the early episodes, that's his dad's place. His dad's office. Yeah. And he's like, I think someone said yeah, if you want to blame someone, if you want to talk about, how Reagan got guns into certain places and such, maybe name JonTron's dad, but he's half Persian, around the Iraq area. He's half, but this kid, I don't know what the meme was. It was something like, it was. Oh, right. It says is this white supremacy or is this a white person or whatever? It was a white guy and it says, is this white supremacy? Is this a Nazi? And I said, JonTron isn't white. And the guy was like, yeah, he is. Are you freaking colorblind or something? And I
Yeah.
kept on this guy, and I kept telling him, like, he's half Persian. You're gonna call him unironically a non-white supremacist. He's like, he looks white, therefore he is.
Oh wow. Yeah, and it's like, please tell me how I'm the real racist here. Like.
Yeah.
The funny thing was, I brought in what about Michael Jackson? Oh, he had a skin condition. I'm like, but you just said he looked white, therefore.
Right.
Hello?
Yeah.
I muted him, and I would always at him. And like, I think I did that for once for Frost. Like, I had him muted, and I'm like, Frost, you want to see something crazy? Just ask this guy over here at whatever if what he thinks about JonTron, and what he thinks about white people. And I didn't see it, but all of a sudden you see Frost taking a few shots at him and like just blown away by his denseness. And I'm like, yeah. I remember bringing it up to her. She's like, oh God, him. But yeah, it's like you have these people who everyone I don't agree with is a Nazi. Darn. I mean, goddamn logic. And I'm like, someone brought this up. It was an old funny comic online where it's like, I think that was Tim. He said, I'm angry. Here's the solution. I don't want the solution. I want to be mad. I just want to be angry. And I want people to do better because I was like that. I was in a bubble of self-hatred and blaming everyone else but myself. But you know what? You know how I fixed that? I got up and realized, I need to change. And it was actually caused, of all people, by Frank Contiff of MST3K. His fans dogpiled me one day, and I said, you know what? I gotta get better at this because they called me they could tell I was trolling and hurt by what they said, and they're right. So I got to get better. And that's how Equestria was founded.
Well, I'm starting to fade a little bit, so I do want to mention something here. I am considering getting back into the saddle, and so I actually GM. So I used to I used to do tabletop role playing game reviews, and so after like I still have my stable of favorites, and so
oh my God, that's
one of my. I actually do a GM, or I will be soon becoming a game master for a Warhammer fantasy game, and so that will run every Sunday. And so what we'll do is this week is not when I start, but the week after is likely to be the one that I do it. So what I'll do is I'm thinking of restarting my Twitter and then sending out the link and then saying, okay, this the group I'm a part of is you get onto their Discord for $1, and what you can do is if you want to support me as a producer, as a game master, there's like a $2 donate option, so that you can send it directly to me. So
awesome.
That's I think a good way to kind of ease into a little bit, and we'll give people the opportunity to for at least for me to show off the Warhammer setting that I enjoy. So
to be honest, all I know of is Serious Heresy in 4K, so 400K. So
right, everybody knows 40K. So, and the other thing too is I really want to get in touch with one of the writers on it, Robert Schwalb. So he was a line producing writer for Green Ronin. So Green Ronin, or I think he was the owner of Green Ronin actually, but he wrote several of the books that we'll be using. And the cool thing about Warhammer Fantasy is that at least for second edition, they produced a lot of this content, but then the publisher actually got closed down. So a lot of these books, you can find them on DriveThruRPG, but physical copies will go for at least $150 to $200 a pop for some of these.
Wow.
So it's nice to kind of show off some of those books that never really got appreciated because they were mishandled by the publisher.
Wow,
So,
that's a really good idea, Liz. I'm not even. I want to go on these. I want to listen to these streams. That sounds fun.
yeah. So the idea is what we'll do is for like the first 30 minutes and however long it takes for people to join, we'll discuss the game and what's happened, as well as kind of go into the the history and what type of book and setting we're going on to. So. And just sort of give people who are not, if you don't want to stick around, you don't have to listen to the whole thing. But if you want to listen to me as a writer and a GM, you can do that after that. So,
that sounds like fun.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm thinking to do. And it'll be a once a week sort of thing until, we'll see if there's interest in it. Even if there's not, we'll just, But that's
so you're one step at a time, unlike Lewis, who was in it until the end. And even though
Well, I mean, if I can, it's tricky because I actually live in the Caribbean right now, so and that's not going to change. I'm looking to relocate everything, all my personal effects here permanently. So when it comes to making videos, for example, the island I'm on, Curacao, isn't supported in monetization from YouTube or Google.
Oh wow.
So, even if I were to be able to do live streaming, I wouldn't be able to receive super chats. But I can have things connected to a PayPal because I have a bank account that's connected to that in the United States. So I'd be able to, the setup that we have is that the group that I'm with runs the Patreon, and they would do a transfer of funds to me directly to my PayPal. So that way we can kind of get around it.
Awesome.
All right.
So yeah, no, it's but I'll give the information when I'm planning on going on to Yellow Flash's stream on Friday and kind of making that announcement. And
Make sure let Dev know, because I know he still has a bunch of he has that one friend who's like a freaking obsessed with your old stuff. So
oh well, yeah, no, it's like making videos is not as useful or time. It's too time consuming, and I can't monetize it on YouTube. So this is probably the best way. It'll be on a Twitch stream. So yeah,
I don't know. I have a potato camera here, so I just make animations. It's a lot of fun. It's been keep me going, keep me sane.
Yeah, definitely. But should we finish? Is there anything else you guys need? Otherwise, I think I'm getting a little tired. So
Oh, that's fine. I was gonna end it around here anyway. Anyway, that was Iron Liz and Charza Kitsune.
Hello.
And thank you all for coming. I'll hopefully see you next week. I'm not sure about this.
Night, guys. Thanks for having me.
Night, Chief. Night, McCloud.